Hey, welcome to the Valt podcast. We are your car culture cultivators. I'm Sean, and of course, we're joined today with
Me, Joe, how's it going?
what's up, Joe?
And Vijay, hey, how are you?
Hey, VJ. Great show in store for you today, Joe. Why don't you tell them what we have?
Yeah, so before we get started, a little bit of news. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, but Sean brought this to our attention today. There is a new 1300 horsepower BMW M3 revealed, which is weird because the new M5 has way less horsepower than that. But if I may share my screen, if I remember how to do that.
Yeah. And to be fair, it's a concept of what BMW is supposedly going to look like in the future. So, but they may borrow a lot of ideas from this car, or they're definitely going to borrow a lot of ideas and technology from this car, including some of the engine bits, certainly detuned interior bits, which they're actually already doing now. Dude, the wheels are pretty sick,
though.
God.
Look at that. So what you're looking at is, you said this was a new Kia, you said? What is this? Okay, well,
new class.
New class.
The styling is being called the Neo Class styling by BMW for that.
You know, it is what it is. I'm gonna pause this video so we don't get copywritten up. But you know, it's something. Comment down below what you guys think. I think it's horrible, but we'll see if it actually comes out. I mean, the new M3 having that much more horsepower than an M5 doesn't make sense to me, but I don't know. Maybe it'll look better in actual production.
Go ahead, VJ.
I think the new M5 needs 1300 horsepower to be as quick as the older M5.
Yeah, with the weight. Yeah. Sean, what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say that when I first saw it, the thing is atrocious. But then I kind of looked at it. I was like, okay, I can see some bits of this car. It's pretty cool in some aspects.
Yeah. I mean, you know, to each their own. But I'm sure people will buy it all over the Bay Area, so we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll definitely see them. But that's that. Comment down below what you guys think of the new M3. I hope it comes out like a really long time from now, so that I don't have to deal with it for a while. But without further ado, Sean, how's your week? How's your week been?
Week is good. Week is very good. The Mercedes is actually finished. So as you guys are all, or as you may know, I have a '73 Mercedes SLC. We've been doing a ton of work on it, as my wife reminded me that she's only seen it, or she hasn't even seen the car before.
Oh, wow.
So I got it in 2021, in January 2021, and I've only seen it once, and just started work on it immediately with one of my friends, and you could just go pick it up. Nice. So that's pretty exciting. So
when are you picking it up?
You know, I'm supposed to go on vacation in the next month. So hopefully I can get it anytime before that. So maybe at the next Valt show is hopefully I'll have it.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, cars. Let's see. The Sundays in Solano will probably be the next one. So that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm planning to visit in March, mid-March. Hopefully I can see it.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So, VJ, how about you? How's your week been?
Oh man, I've been busy learning how to drive in the snow mainly. So yeah, I started with lesser amount of snow, and then the Cayman was actually usable. But then it became so sketchy, and this is one of the worst winters apparently we've had in many years. So here I'm in between Indianapolis and Chicago. So since the snow got worse, I've been trying to take the front wheel drive Peugeot out more often to go to work. And this 2 days ago, I was on the way to work, and I ended up in a lane that was about to close up, and the lane suddenly had a bunch of snow blowing over it.
Oh,
and I ended up driving over it at about 70 odd miles an hour, and I lost control on the right side of the wheels. And this car basically has no traction control or anything. It's 35 years old, and I had to do two full opposite basic corrections to stay facing the right direction. And I wouldn't want to crash that car because it weighs literally 2,300 pounds with no structure or anything. So I've been taking it easy and staying home and not driving to work for the last 2 days after that incident. And yeah, just being more careful in general with the snow.
I figured just in the Midwest, you just go out and you just buy a beater that you know you're going to wreck or somebody's going to
Yeah,
steal.
on the way I saw it. On the way, I saw at least 3 cars on the roadside crashed,
Yeah,
and it's just like they just get used up either by rust or just crash out.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm glad to see you taking care of at least the Porsches and having those stored for the.
yeah, I have a garage and everything, so I'm very fancy now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it must be nice in Chicago right now to have those cars right behind you. Yeah, I've only had one only one driving experience in the snow, like in like legit snow, like not like snow on the sides of the road, but like actually snow on the ground. And it was so like humbling because I was in my mom's at the time brand new GLS 450 with all wheel drive, an SUV with all wheel drive, and with computers and all that stuff from 2017 2018. Beautiful car. But like I was driving down the hill, I'm like, yeah, I could. I mean, it's fine. I can totally do this. Like it's like what it's made for. And then I'm driving down in a residential neighborhood, and all of a sudden I just start sliding, and I'm like, oh, this shouldn't be happening right now. And I'm like, am I gonna like crash into like a house or something? I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to stop. And luckily we stopped. But I was like, oh man, I don't know anything about the snow at all.
I'm relearning how to use the brakes now.
Yeah.
In the snow.
So like yeah, I mean like it's a whole process, but it's fun to learn. You know, it's fun to be able to know like how to do it, but it's not like a great experience or anything unless like you're up in the twisties
But
on
it's
the road.
it's so fun at low speed through the cities. Like you're doing 30 miles an hour or so, and if you're going through and sliding a little bit through the corners, it's so fun. Especially when there's no one around in traffic or anything, you're just like sliding through every corner at 30 miles an hour. That's fun. But highway stuff is scary. 70 miles
I
an
can
hour.
imagine. I can imagine. Just like last week with my hydroplaning in the E55, like just driving is like could be sketchy in some situations. And speaking of driving, I can't drive for like 3 or 4 weeks because I was out with some friends 2 days after we recorded the last podcast, and tripped up a couple stairs and somehow shattered my big toe. Like
Oh,
I broke it in
God.
4 different spots. I don't know how. I guess tripped over some steps, but I guess my foot caught it at just the right angle. But went to the ER, did the X-ray. They told me what was going on. They put me in a boot, and then the doctor called like the next week, early in the week, and was just like, "Yeah, no weight on your foot for 4 weeks, and then like that's it." So
I would have told you if you would have called me. I would saved you a trip to the doctors because there's nothing they can do when you break a toe.
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a hypochondriac, and luckily I have insurance. But like,
Yeah.
I'm a sucker when it comes to anything medical because I've never had a broken bone. I'm never really sick, knock on wood. So like, I basically was like, I don't know what to do. I can't feel my foot, or I can't feel my toe. I can't move it. Like this sucks, and I can't really drive. Like I drove home, but like it was painful to drive. So I'm like, what do I do? So Allie's like, just go to the ER, get an X-ray, tell them what happened, and so they're like, okay. So they put me in a boot, told me don't put any weight on it or walk for 4 weeks, and then early March they're gonna have another X-ray to tell me how I'm healing, and hopefully, like today we're recording on the 20th of February. Hopefully in like 2 weeks I could get back in the car, but we'll see.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. I know when you break a big toe, it's permanent nerve damage. So you might have to go ahead and just sell your cars at a steep discount to.
You know what I was telling somebody. I think it was either my parents or like Allie or something, and I'm like, I don't even care if I have nerve damage at all. Like as long as my toe is still there after this, like I'm just not gonna care. You know, it's like whatever. If I don't feel it, I don't feel it.
Yeah.
I feel part of it, but like where it breaks, where it's broken, I don't really feel it. And so I talked to the doctor because once again, I've never broken a bone, so I don't really know what I'm supposed to be feeling. And he's like, yeah, it's normal. Stop freaking out, kind of thing.
Nice. So what happens if it was a lot more serious and you had to lose 1.5 toes? Which ones are you picking?
Well, I'm
Scenario.
any of the small ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scenario
Any of the
question.
small ones.
Cars to drive when your toe is broken.
Yeah,
Exactly.
The top 5 cars to drive when your toe's broken.
I think I can do without my middle ring toe, and you can take half of my pinky toe, and I'd be good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
there
definitely
we go.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at. I'm hopefully fit on the next Sundays. I was at Sundays in Solano this week, which by the way was awesome. It rained and people still showed up and it was awesome. I think that event is like kind of a vibe this year. Both of them this year have been really good despite like kind of weird weather. So I think people are really excited about that space right now. Speaking of just like what we were talking, where car shows are going, like I think more people are wanting to get out these days. So it's been fun. But I was out there with a boot. Everyone was asking me questions. I hated answering them because I've answered them for like 2 weeks now. But like, hopefully on the next Sundays in Solano in March, I'm either with at least without a scooter or crutches. Like I might have a boot on or something, but at least I can walk. So
Yeah.
fingers crossed on that.
Did you have Allie? Just how'd you get there? Did you have to have Allie drive, and did she have to put you in the back of the station wagon
My
with your
dad
leg out
drove.
the window?
Yeah, my dad drove and I was in the station wagon, so I basically did the same thing. And Allie's been my chauffeur everywhere. So basically, whenever I have a detail that I can't outsource to like an employee of mine, like a client who's very particular, she'll just
Yeah.
drive me. She'll be driving me them to them. So it's I'm very grateful, but I owe her a lot after this. We might be going on a vacation after. um, but yeah, that's the week. Nothing interesting in car world because I haven't been able to drive, other than just me being mopey and wishing I could get behind the wheel. So hopefully next time we have a podcast next week when we're live streaming, I'll be able to tell you more about how my driving experience has been. Which, by the way, if you're watching this now, we were gonna live stream this, but we didn't know that YouTube required like a cooling off period before we live stream. So next week we'll be live streaming. So I'm excited for that.
Raw and uncut.
Yeah. So without further ado, we're gonna get into the member Discord finds. Which, if you're not sure what that is, Vault patrons get access to a Discord where we post links to marketplace finds. We post drives. We're going to events. In March, we're doing a drive simulation night, all that jazz. So really, it's a fun time, and hope to see you guys in there. If you have any questions, links are down in the description below. So yeah. So without further ado, we'll get right into it. We'll share my screen and we will start going through them. So the first one, I believe Jackson found. This is 2010 Ultima GTR. You've seen a couple of these at our events before.
Wait, what? Why is it so cheap?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know anything about them. This one's an automatic, so I have a feeling this is like a shitty one. It's also carbureted, which is crazy. But anyway,
It's like replica.
it's a good. Yeah, maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
anything about these. Comment down below what you guys are saying. But literally, it's a 1969 Chevy with 5.7 liter motor. So this thing is all looks no. Wow. Okay, so if you guys
Extreme.
this has a bar label, which is wild. But ooh, okay, no, it's a manual. Man, I wouldn't want to be in this thing, but like, I get
That's definitely a death wish.
yeah, I get the allure. You've seen there's like 3 or 4 of them that frequent some of our events. Whenever they show
Extreme
up-
kit car vibes. Kit car vibes.
yeah, I mean, when you see them at the event, it's cool, but that's it. Like it's only like drive to the event, drive home, put it back on casters, and put it somewhere else.
Yeah. You
So
know what? It's 15 years old with 546 miles on it.
that's
It's not
how. Yeah,
a Ferrari.
yeah,
That tells you how enjoyable it is.
exactly. So that's that one. This next one I found. We've been talking about the Honda Z for like a long time. It's a K car. I just like the way these look, and I want a K car so I could take part in our tiny car show. You know.
Oh,
I just think it's cool. I just think this is the one I want. Like I want a good example of a Honda Z.
That
this one
front
is
end is like, I was gonna say that front end is all like Prelude, and that back end is all Odyssey.
yeah, exactly. It's
this
like,
is more the Wagoner. It's a Wagoner competitor, I think.
yeah, exactly, which would be fun because
Wagoner.
Spencer has one of those.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, this is like my choice. I think in K car, I think would be comfortable enough to drive around town. The only reason why I'm not choosing this particular one to buy is because it's missing like the trunk handle, and I have a feeling this is probably like a huge, like really hard thing to find for something like this. So this one I'm out on, but nonetheless, I think I will own one of these at some point. I don't know
You
if
can
it's,
you can overnight parts from Japan.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's true. I can order it. Yeah. So yeah, that's where we're at with this one. Honda Z, cool car, but um, yeah. But this one isn't actually for sale. This car, next one isn't for sale. But Wesley found it. It's in Antioch, so you could rent a shitty monster truck for like a birthday party. Um, and it's in Antioch, and so I
I
just thought
can't
like
believe that's in Antioch. There's no way.
just imagine like you like waking up in the morning and like seeing this just parked out across the street, like just like in your neighborhood, and I guess like I couldn't believe it. So like, there's nothing really to say about this other than for $150, if you guys are interested, um, this guy will drive to your location or his location, which whatever that is, and will, I guess, bring the truck to a kid's birthday party. I'm not sure what the kids do with this thing, but like, I just thought it was crazy that this is a thing that exists. And so yeah, I mean,
The
The
economy's
gas
tight,
to
man.
drive
Get some money any way you can.
yeah, I
the
guess,
gas to drive to your location would be more than $150
yeah,
in this.
hilarious. Yeah,
I'm,
exactly.
I'm, I'm sure this guy steals kids.
Yeah, maybe this is his business model. For $150, I'll just come and take your children. But yeah, I mean, so if you're in the Antioch area for some reason and you want to have a monster truck
For
ride,
some reason.
He put crank for a monster truck party.
yeah, monster truck party could be fun. I mean, this would do really well at a big car show.
Demolition derbies.
Yeah,
The
demolition
birthday
derby, you name it, all that stuff. And then the last one I think Jackson found, and this was intriguing because it's a limo. So this is a W123 Mercedes 300D
Ooh.
limo. So for those who don't know, this engine is an OM617 diesel. It's a 5-cylinder. It makes like 120 horsepower. So I can only imagine. Oh, and this is a non-turbo, so it has 83 horsepower. Actually, my bad.
Oh my god.
So I can just imagine what this is like to drive around town.
It's gonna accelerate like a train.
Yeah, oh, barely. It probably doesn't even accelerate like a train. It probably gets kind of. You don't really feel a sensation of acceleration with something like this. If it's a full load, it kind of just starts moving, and you don't. And suddenly you're at 30 miles an hour, and you didn't really know how you got there. But I mean, pulling up to a Carson Coffee, like I think you probably win with this.
This is an aftermarket or is it
No,
from Mercedes?
I don't know. I mean, you could buy them. Like you can order these, like from Mercedes, and they have like a chassis code and everything. I think it's like V123 or something like that. But I'm not
Gator
sure.
spec.
I'm not sure about this. Yeah, Euro spec only. You can't get them in US spec. But yeah, I mean, this might have been like a conversion, but you could order this like from the factory. I think not like just some random guy, but like a fleet company or like special person could do that.
Coach building.
Yeah. What would make you like, or what would possess somebody to get a 93 or 83 horsepower freaking limo? Like,
Yeah, it's. I think it's mostly just because you can. For 15 grand, this is a horrible experience.
You get a diesel, you can swap it with anything.
Yeah, and I think this is California plated. Well, no, it's not. If there's no plate on it, but like, I mean, I don't know if you're gonna swap a 123 sedan, like, don't do the limo. There's no point to do this. But like for 15 grand, this is totally like not worth it. Don't. No one buy this. But like, for like 5, it could be a fun like thing to drive around for a little bit. But yeah,
to the mailbox.
Yeah, to the yeah. But yeah, those are the member Discord finds. As I was saying below, link down in the description to join that. You guys get access to all this stuff. You can add to the chat. You can also be a part of this virtual podcast if you're interested. All that stuff. Drive sims, like I was saying before, we're doing a whole like haptic drive sim night in early March, so that'll be really fun. But yeah, link down in the description below. We'd love to have you part of the team and have you supporting us. So without further ado, we're gonna go into the main topic. So on Instagram, I've been seeing a lot of Instagram posts, just story posts about Porsche committing to producing more gasoline cars or something. I didn't look into it because I just figured it was just like whatever, like I don't know, like just some like marketing thing to like sell more cars. But VJ brought it to my attention more aggressively, and we found that, I guess, well, VJ, why don't you walk us down the path of what these guys are doing, and while I find the article, and link it into the podcast.
Yeah, it's a pretty big vibe shift in the automotive industry that we're seeing this last year or so, particularly because around 5 years ago, most of the companies were like, by 2025, 50 to 80% of the things we sell would be pure EV because of that reason, we're not going to develop any more internal combustion technology anymore. And they poured so many hundreds of billions into developing EV stuff. And now they're realizing that the market's not ready yet. And it could be longer, maybe 2030, 2035, and they can have that much mix of EVs in the fleet. So now they're having a U-turn and saying we're developing hybrids and continuing more combustion development, especially the Boxster Cayman thing. They saw how the response was to the Taycan, which is basically a flop. The Macan EV has not been received well. The demand for the gas Macan is so much higher, and I mean, if the Boxster Cayman goes EV as well, they're seeing the writings on the wall. So yeah, so that's what Porsche decided. They're gonna purge a lot of investment that's gone into EV and take a bit of a hit. So the profits might be a little bit lower initially, but they have to come back and sell more combustion engines. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a difficult financial phase for them, but that's what they're banking on.
Yeah.
So with that commitment, it's obviously a money thing. What do you think that does to the overarching EV market? Because even though Porsche isn't like a Toyota or like a Tesla or something, obviously like Porsche in most people's eyes is like an epitome performance car brand. So Ferrari is most likely coming out with a performance EV. Lamborghini's doing the same thing. Lotus literally just launched their EV that no one's buying. What do you think? What do you think happens to them? Are they going to all pivot now, or what do you think?
They should all pivot. I mean, I would think at this point in the game. I mean, if you're into EVs, is you probably already have one or two, or you're replacing one. Those that haven't converted at this stage in the game are probably just not interested in them. So you might have just peaked early with your market. And considering if you're looking at, the technology that's out there with the EVs is compared to what you're paying and the range that you're getting out of it, I mean, I don't think it's enticing enough for the price and for the convenience of it all.
The depreciation is so hard on
Yeah.
these cars. The Taycans have been depreciating. They're probably the fastest depreciating cars ever, including the Lucid Air. They lose basically 50% of the value in a couple of years. So imagine buying a $220,000 Taycan and then it's worth $100,000 in 2 years.
Yeah,
that's what it's been. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I was just listening to a car podcast, where someone was talking about like depreciation hunting, like kind of like trying to find a really nice car for like way less money than they were new, and like trying to ride that curve so like they can enjoy it for 3 years and then sell it. And at like they bought it at the bottom of the depreciation curve, and it kind of like 5 years later you sell it and you're spending like $10,000 or something. And a Taycan Turbo S is one of the top cars right now. It's like depreciated 50%. You could buy it for like $70,000 to $80,000, and in 5 years it'll probably be worth $70,000 or $80,000. Maybe 65. Like not that much of a loss. And so it is kind of intriguing to see where some of these cars are going, and also where, I mean, with Porsche telling us that they're going to go gasoline, what does that do to the Boxster that they're trying to produce? What does that do to the Macan that they're trying to produce? Like, everyone is going to hold off, right, and be buying, especially at least on Boxsters and Caymans. Like, everyone is holding off until that.
Yeah, when Mercedes has comprehensively failed with the EQS, right?
Yeah,
absolutely failed.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think if Porsche goes ahead and continues on the Cayman, I think, or the Boxster type car, whatever it is, is I think they'll actually be pretty good on those, especially because it's Porsche. It's how they market something that's that compact, and obviously it has that Porsche technology, and you still get that experience in it. I mean, that would probably be an awesome sports car, which there are a lot of awesome EV sports cars out there, so that might do well. But all the other stuff,
they'll have to hedge their bets and keep offering the gas options as well.
yeah.
Yeah, they don't need to drastically develop it, but they just keep offering the gas option while still having the new platforms on sale. It's instead of like having a sudden stop for the box ready gas versions. I know that European emissions are stricter than ever, like compared to the previous particulates and NOx. They have basically been asked to do it 50% harsher conditions. Emit 50% lesser or so. So they've had to add additional particulate filters. So that's a huge problem for a lot of their naturally aspirated engines, specifically the GT3. So the GT3 has been having the same power output over the last couple of generations, but actually the engine itself has been making more, but the emissions, back pressure, the extra particulate filters and all that mufflers have been adding the back pressure, making the power back down to the same level as it was before. So that's the fight they're fighting right now in terms of development of their GT level cars.
Yeah.
I mean, for the first time probably ever, having said that stuff, it's probably more ideal to be buying a US spec car than it is a Euro spec car. Whereas
I wonder if they're gonna make everything same across the board, because having to develop, I don't know how much cost difference it is to homologate, especially for US versus Europe versus Asia. Yeah, I don't know. But at the moment, I think it's better to have the US spec. US spec has fewer emissions choking stuff on the GT cars.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Even in California.
Oh yeah.
European GT3s sound worse than the US ones.
Yeah, they have all the DPF stuff, which the US doesn't have, and they also have like all these like chimes and bings and stuff for like different settings, and you have to go through all these different like screens to get through different. I mean, like I'm not really sure why Europe is so strict right now, but they are. So we're in a good. We're probably in one of the better places for these newer cars, but yeah, I mean, it's shocking. So going back to the EV stuff, especially with the depreciation, just another proof point to where these cars are not selling. I was working with a customer who bought a brand new EQE 350, 200 miles on it, and the MSRP, the sticker price, $85,000. Can you guess how much he's currently selling it for?
40.
Yeah.
35. Yeah.
Half,
40.
half off.
Yeah.
Brand new. He didn't drive it. Half brand new.
Oh shit!
Brand new. Literally brand new.
Why didn't they lease it?
I don't know, but literally brand new car, 50% depreciation hit, 200 miles, 1 year old. I couldn't believe it, and so I started like researching. I'm like, honestly, like, how bad can these cars be? Like could I like could I lease like a 2-year-old EQ Mercedes like hatchback thing for a detail thing and look
Blob.
yeah, it's a blob. But like to the outside world that aren't in the cars, that looks like with like my logo on it, that looks kind of premium, for like nothing, no money, like 50%.
Is it like 500
on a lease? So it's like I don't know. It started. I'm not gonna do it, but like I was like really. I at least had the idea in my head because I was like, it just seems crazy that you can get these cars for nothing.
Seems like you'd be better off maybe just buying one that's like 2 years old. It's still relatively brand new. Have somebody else eat the depreciation on it.
Yeah. No, this is a great example of not getting something brand new. That's for sure.
They're actually like nice places to be in. It's just like they're not well engineered overall. It's super nice, like with the lights and seating and everything. It's like nice materials and stuff. Yeah, it's just not Mercedes level engineering.
Wasn't Doug DeMuro, isn't he a big fan of these? Like he says he likes the driving experience.
He is being contrarian for the sake of it.
Okay.
I have a feeling. Yeah, I feel like he's just trying to cause people to comment because like
Okay.
yeah.
Engagement bait. Yeah.
Also, like even the EQSs, like their nicest, like the nicest models, I've detailed inside, and like they just don't feel premium to me.
Yeah.
Maybe now, but like when they were first coming out, I'm like, I cannot believe this is this expensive. I literally cannot believe it. But yeah. So final question on this topic: do you see what Porsche is doing? Do you see like an entire market shift towards this? Like you know, like BMW going full EV. Now maybe it will bring it back a little bit and try to like produce some gasoline cars to fund their other projects, or do you think this is just going to be like a Volkswagen Audi group?
Basically, the whole industry is in turmoil about what to do.
Yeah.
Lot of
If
trouble.
you have Trump rolling back EPA, emissions, and you still have people, gas powered cars being a lot more popular. It makes it. Yeah, I wouldn't hedge my bet on EV,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah,
makes
all I'm telling my friends who are looking at EVs is just don't buy new. Just buy a 2-year-old EV.
yeah,
Just never buy new.
Yeah.
No matter
yeah,
what.
yeah. And you get more. I think you get more bang for your buck on a hybrid.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I told you, right? I rented a new Prius in Florida for 24 hours of Daytona. I drove it for 3 days, and I was like mildly aggressive. I got 51, 52 mpg easily.
Nice.
Like it's got 550 miles of range on 11-gallon tank.
Yeah.
What a nice, and it's dynamically pretty good now also.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. I mean, my mom just got a leased. She just leased a GLC 300 plug-in hybrid or a GLC 350 plug-in hybrid, like maybe 4 or 5 months ago before Christmas, and she's filled the gas tank up once. Insane, like 50 miles.
Yeah.
50 miles of EV range, and she's literally had to use the engine maybe like a handful of times.
That's the answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
One car solution.
That is the answer. And it makes me want to like get one. Like I'm actually like Allie's gonna need a new car in the next like year or two, and I think plug-in hybrid is gonna be the move. Because I guess the hypermiling that thing actually kind of, as a car enthusiast, kind of sounds fun. Like seeing how far in between gas changes.
And some people have like free charging at the office also. So you just plug in. It's a free car.
Ultimate cheat code. Yeah, it's like 2015 Tesla where they were doing the unlimited free charging, except for it's a nicer experience.
You know what's funny is I've had 2 plug-in hybrids, and I could count on one hand how many times, or maybe even one finger on how many times I actually plugged it in, because I'm just so programmed into just going to the gas station as opposed to plugging it in.
Fossil fuel maxing.
Fossil fuel maxing. Yeah, not taking advantage of the EV part.
Oil pilled.
So yeah, guys, comment down below what you guys think about this Porsche thing and where the industry is headed. But the scenario isn't really necessarily a scenario this week. It's more of a question about the opposite effect of what this is doing. So say the EV craze was never started by Tesla or anything, and people like companies like Porsche were able to kind of just like let the rings out and just produce anything they wanted with gasoline, or like their hybrid technologies. Do you think with the resurgence of gasoline powered cars now and with the kind of like development of EVs over the past like 15 years, do you think we've lost any like huge technological updates for gasoline and hybrid technologies? Vijay, what do you say about that?
Yeah, I specifically recall this technology by Mazda that came around mid 2010s or so. I was very excited reading about it as a graduate student in automotive engineering. So it was called the Sky Active X technology that they showed. So this was using a mix of HCCI. It's called heterogeneous charge combustion ignition, I think. So it's like running a gasoline engine almost like a diesel in certain conditions, at low load or like highway sort of cruising situation, running a gas engine as lean as a diesel, basically without using spark, just by using compression, by designing the engine in a very sophisticated way, and by preparing the combustion charge also before it enters the chamber, I believe. So this was super exciting, basically being able to get diesel levels of fuel economy, lean sort of combustion out of a gasoline engine that they were working on. It was patented. It was kind of shown as a proof of concept and everything. But then the whole EV subsidy sort of came in, and then I don't think they had the amount of funding to pursue it. I'm not sure if they pursued some form of it in production or not, but it did not really make it into real world product because it was super exciting. The ACCI case, I know it was really hard to implement, but with a few years of research and funding, it could have made it into production where you'd be getting like, maybe like 70 miles to the gallon in the gas engines for highway cruising and stuff. That sort of level of lean diesel level efficiency. Yeah, that was one super exciting stuff that had come up at that time.
Yeah.
And then Infinity had come up with something called variable compression ratio engine. Again, changing the compression ratio based on the power demand. Like if you demand like a lot of power, it would go to high compression ratio, and for like lower leaner conditions for highway cruising and stuff, it would be lower compression. This would help with emissions and it would help with fuel economy and things like that. Yeah, so I guess there were like some interesting tech like that going around before the EVs totally took over in terms of development race. Yeah.
Sean, were you say something?
Yeah, no, I'd actually say, I think, hybrid technology, I mean, for me, it just seems like it's maybe even kept up with the pace, if not even surpassed, what they've been able to do with batteries. I mean, if you look at, battery ranges haven't really changed over the past few years, significantly at least. So you look at, all the advances in technology and what they're doing, not only with alternative fuels, but with turbocharging, supercharging, electronic assist. The hybrid's got a long ways to go. And then if you look at, once these aftermarket companies or these third-party companies, once they get a chance to develop some of the technology, the things that we'll be able to do with these, with some of these cars that are out there, are going to be incredible. So
yeah, I think Toyota has been the real Chad in this whole race. They've never been, kind of distracted by anything. They just kept making their hybrids better and better, and now the Camry and Prius are like the most perfect hybrids at the moment.
Yeah.
It's like they've been just like had their head down and they're like selling like anything. So their RAV4 hybrids, all of them have been like super favorites in their categories. They're pretty much the best sellers.
Yeah. And their transitions are seamless too. I mean, like there's a lot of hybrids that like don't have that seamless like EV to motor transition. But the Toyotas, especially that RAV4, I drove Matt's RAV4 Prime on a rally, and I was like, this makes like daily driving like my Honda Civic makes no sense. Like I just like I don't know, everything about a hybrid's perfect. In my opinion, for daily driving.
And thank God the styling's getting so much better on them.
Yeah, I mean they're looking more and more just like arrows, but
yeah, nothing worse than like a hybrid in the 90s, early 2000s.
Prius is hot now. Prius is hot.
Yeah, they look good.
Look way better.
Dude, I saw a body kit for a Prius from the new Star Priuses. I'm like, that
slammed and white.
That looks good.
It was like 85% of its range. So with those new technologies that weren't able to come out because of the EV craze, do you think anything will come out from like this kind of resurgence? I know it's only 4 years of a Trump presidency, but like it can't be the only reason why like Porsche is like going back to gasoline. So do you think like we'll get like variable compression ratios and like for like I guess like a different pressurized chamber for fuel in like some of these like new technologies, or do you think we're just kind of like that's just a past now?
No, I think they're just gonna keep iterating the existing formulas because these are like expensive research, and manufacturing also becomes expensive with mass market of this sort of thing. So yeah, I think they're just gonna keep refining and trying to slightly tinker with the existing stuff and focus more on the hybrid aspect rather than pure combustion technology improvement. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I agree. That makes sense. I kind of was hoping that like I would love to see a Miata with like a weird like a variable combustion something, or like
and Mazda was Yeah, I mean, there's been like on and off rumors about Mazda confirming and not confirming their rotary hybrid for their next RX-8 or whatever,
Yeah.
Sky, the concept car. Yeah, I mean, every month there's like a news item saying it's gonna go into production, and then there's no news for 2 months, and then they come back again. So yeah, that would be like exciting. And Mazda is another brand that's been focused on making its existing traditional products good, similar to Toyota, instead of going all in on EVs. They're also like playing the waiting game by selling the existing products.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, without further ado, does anyone have any closing remarks before we hop off on this episode of the podcast?
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, yeah, and like we were saying, you know, two of us are crippled. I have a broken toe. Sean's back's a little bit messy. VJ can't drive in the snow right now, so and he's also very far away. So I think for at least the next couple of weeks, we're going to do this fully digital. We're going to be live streaming next week, back to a regular schedule. So be sure to tune in to that when you get the notification. Members will get like really early notification. We'll let you guys know. We'll also have another live stream maybe where we can just kind of hang out together after the podcast if you guys are interested as members. So yeah, it's been fun. We're getting way better at this technology stuff, I think. So looking forward to continuing to develop it. And yeah, we'll see you on another episode of the podcast next week. And without further ado, take care. See you later.